All right, guys, so we were in the live stream the other night, and you guys asked me to record me doing all of my rewiring of my truck, basically all of my auxiliary power. I have quite a bit of auxiliary stuff going on in my truck, and basically it's been, you know, one thing added on to another, and things have gotten turned into a spider web of wires and failed attempts, things I messed up because I'm not an electrician. I don't know these types of things. And then I've, you know, eventually corrected it and made it work, and then it finally works well. And I've got some things that have been left behind from things that have failed in the past. So there's quite a bit of power lines going from the front of the truck to the back of the truck, you know, some of them all the way. And so I am making the endeavor to get everything neatly tucked away, no spider webs, no craziness of wires, and simply having everything in a, you know, in one big harness that's going to run all the way the length of the truck, and to split off where it needs to for those systems, so that I can have a secure, safe electrical setup for my auxiliary power that I have and that I use. So I'm going to bring you along as much as I can. I can tell you, to start off with, it's really not that pretty. I've just kind of gotten by. I am no professional. Don't take the things that I'm doing for absolute certainty. Correct me if I'm wrong, please. Let me know in the comments down below. I don't know if this is going to be a one or two or three part series or anything like that, but I do want to share this with you guys. Many of you did ask for it in the live stream, so here I am making the attempt. So as of right now, I've got everything disconnected right now from the battery. I've got my professional gardening gloves that are blocking the power and the positive and negative terminals here on the battery over here for my auxiliary stuff. I've got all my other power stuff going on here, and the spider web, cobweb mess back here from all the other harnesses that I have that I've never been able to get really cleaned up as much as possible. So it is going to be, in my eyes, a nightmare to do this, but my biggest issue is just being able to have confidence going down the road. Everything is secure, everything is safe, everything is at the right, you know, voltage, everything is fused, so nothing's gonna, you know, blow up or anything crazy, and that when I flip a switch or when I turn on the truck, that things are going to work and I don't have to guess or wonder. So that's kind of where we're at in the system right now. I'm going to be kind of ripping everything apart, literally pulling it out from the front of the truck here, pulling everything out. I've got some other systems that I haven't actually taken out yet. My old fuel tank that had a selector valve and a different type of fuel pump, that's still actually mounted underneath my truck. I'm going to take those out. They're no longer needed. I don't need that for my current auxiliary fuel tank. So the name of the game is that I don't want a DOT officer or anyone to have to ask the question, why in the world do you have that set up that way? Maybe it's not going to actually cause a problem, but it just looks like it's asking for trouble. And so that's the thing that I want to avoid at all costs. Have everything clean, buttoned up, one harness as best as I can do, and have this good to go. So anyways, I'm going to get into it here. Hopefully I have a buddy coming to help me out. We'll see if we can do that, put that together. I already do have my list of everything that's going to be run for all my auxiliary power. So as of right now, I'll just kind of show you here on the whiteboard. Number one, I've got my auxiliary fuel tank, my 7-pin power, my actual truck, a harness that goes all the way back there, the 7-pin wire. Everything else works on my 7-pin, but the power, not the brake power, not the lights, nothing else, but the actual power to raise and lower the jacks or do the slide outs, that is not working. And so I ran a separate power line off of a fuse all the way back there. So 7-pin power, my airbag compressor basically, and then I have a compressor setup that is for just having an air air compressor system that's not a part of the actual airbag. So that's never actually run correctly, and that's all my fault. So I do want to get this up and running to be able to, you know, inflate tires or do lug nuts or help other people out, whatever I can do. So that's going to be part of number 3. And then my fuel pump, I have a aftermarket fuel pump. It's an AirDog 4G or AirDog 2 4G. So that needs to be run as well. And then I have LED lights that I'm going to be hooking up to my back bumper. I already have the lights, have everything to go, but I just need to get that hooked up. I actually had one stolen. Someone literally unscrewed it, ripped out the wires, and stole one of my LED lights. So that's going to be happening. And then my plow, I do have a Boss plow, and I've got to get that put in there as well. So I have quite a few different things going on here, a lot of auxiliary power, and just want to do this the correct way and do it the safe way. That's the biggest thing for me. So I will try to bring you along as much as I can. No promises or guarantees. You'll be able to see everything, but this is my intent, to try to show you and kind of bring you along on this journey. So we'll go ahead and get right into it. All right, guys, so since I don't actually have everything labeled already, there are some things that I don't know what they are going to, and some things that I do. So I was just going to briefly share with you what I do know. This right here, this actuator, or whatever it's called, where when I have my snow plow controller activated and I press a button, this actually turns it on and sends power just in that moment. I've got one lead, the big lead obviously going to my positive over here, and then this over here goes to the actual, wraps down and around and goes down to the actual positive here for actually connecting to the plow. And then it's got its own harness in here, which is a mess because it's got a million lights and stuff with it, but then it has this as well. That's for the actual controlling the plow and everything. So I've got this plow actuator, whatever you want to call it here. This is the positive for the lights, and then this is the negative that goes to the negative over there. Then over here, this harness that's a little stronger braided over here, this is actually for the lights for the plow. My plow lights aren't actually working right now. They never have worked because I haven't found the right harness connector for the Boss plow, because it didn't come with it, and it was just kind of I basically pieced that plow together. So I have no idea what this goes to. This is the fuse, same exact setup here, but same harness. So this is for the plow. I can't remember what this is for. This might be the fuse for the lights, possibly. This right here, let's see, this goes into that. So this right here goes to the fuel pump, I believe, and this has never been needed. I think this is this harness was made for multiple different types of fuel pumps and for different trucks, so I don't actually need this. And then I have this harness over here. This for sure, I'm not sure. This goes, okay, so this is the actual power and positive and negative for the fuel pump, the AirDog 2. And then I have these two that actually do go together down there. This is for the fuel tank, so positive and negative there. And then I don't know what everything else is, honestly. Whatever it was connected to is somewhat working. And so yeah, this is the chaos that I've kind of been working with. Really just a mess of wires down here that's already, man, and you can see I kind of went into my dash there to be able to get to, you know, having my plug in there for, or my switch in there for the fuel tank to be able to turn that on. I had multiple other things going in there as well before that. When it was actually working, for my LED lights and some other things that I had tried to begin with a while ago. So this is the current setup right now. It's an absolute mess, and we're gonna get things cleaned up, shorten some wires, get things kind of zip tied together. But for now, I'm honestly just gonna rip all the wires that go down underneath there. You probably can't see it, but there's a lot of wires that go down there. I feel more comfortable, besides the ones that are in an actual harness like this that's fairly cleaned up, not in bad shape. I'm just going to rip everything else out, so we're starting fresh, and I'm going to be redoing all of the connections here. I'm going to be doing shrink wrap connectors that I bought a long time ago on everything, to be able to have everything secure, waterproofed, good to go there. So yeah, it's just going to be a long journey for me getting this taken care of. But this is the type of thing where you really just want this to be done right one time, and then you don't have to mess with it for a very, very long time. So that's kind of what I'm going for on this project, and it's got to be better than what it is. It's unacceptable. I've made excuses for it. I've tried to make, put little band-aids on it, and it doesn't work, and it looks terrible. So it's got to be better than this, and so we're going to make it. We'll go on to the next step here with everything kind of unplugged, unpulled, seeing where things are going, refreshing my own memory on these things. And so basically I'm just going to get underneath the truck, right underneath this area here, going down, and I'm just going to pull very gently. I don't want to pull things that are still connected. Maybe pretty much everything is disconnected, but I'm just going to pull everything that is down there, and start the process of cutting zip ties that are along the way. The problem is when you have multiple additions to your setup, multiple auxiliary power stuff, you add a new zip tie for each cord to make sure it doesn't dangle, right? And so that's what I've done, and I've got a lot of zip ties. I've got a lot of sketchy, tuck this wire underneath here, over there, putting things this way, that way, and it's just, we're not going to do that anymore. We're going to get this taken care of. So I'm going to go ahead and do that and see all the madness that I pull out, and start cutting zip ties and get things in the right place. So I'll go ahead and do that now. I don't know if I can even show that to you. I'll at least try to show you all the wires that are underneath the truck dangling, and we'll go from there. So all right guys, so I have for the most part finished ripping out all the old wires. I found multiple lines running to the same thing because something or other happened with the original line, and I wanted to try some other new idea, or whatever the case may have been for adding additional power. I had redundancies, and ones that were hooked up, ones that weren't, and it was just shameful. Not gonna lie, pretty rough. For the most part, things technically they were operational, they would work, but just had some issues. I had my LED light stolen, so here's my left one that I still have. I just took that off. I'm gonna be replacing that, and then this light bar here for braking or reversing or left or right turn, I'm going to be just putting that to rest. The right turn signal and I believe the brake lights were the only thing that actually worked. So we took care of that. Just a lot of redundancies and just really stupid things that I didn't take the time, whether it was between 4 years ago and now, I did not take the time. If you are going through electrical problems, issues, if you're adding things, I would advise you to take the extra time, exchange the zip ties, so you don't have one zip tie only holding 2 wires and then the next one it's holding 3, and then everything's just kind of staggered and it's all messed up. So I even had my old selector valve and pusher pump or whatever for my gravity feed auxiliary tank. I had those, but I just had those kind of cut off, And I finally, after 2 years or so, finally, unbolted those and got those off. So just a lot of things that needed to be done a while ago. I chose to not do that. And this is the price you pay when you put things off, when you do these things. So this big headache is definitely something that needed to be dealt with. And with the last video that you saw, that vlog, with having those electrical issues, I just thought, man, it's time. I've got to get this taken care of. I need to go through everything and anything and label everything, make sure everything's good. And then second of all, make sure that all the wires are zip tied properly. Nothing's dangling. I saw a few wires, close to moving parts, a few wires that were potentially could be, crushed or somehow, bumped or moved or whatever. So this is just a big operation to get put together and to get safely done. So I will continue working here. I'm going to throw all this extra wire away, and then we're going to kind of plot out what I do need to do, because there's quite a moving parts going on here. So I'll catch you in here in a little bit. All right, guys, so I've got everything picked up, cleaned up pretty good. I know what everything is actually going to underneath. I have the cords that I'm going to be using, or the wires that I'll be using going forward, that I'm not throwing away, still on here. There's nothing else left. I had a lot of ideas apparently that ended up not working out, and so I had a lot of cords I took out. I am down to my positive and negative and the power line for the auxiliary fuel tank. I have the AirDog 2 fuel pump power and ground going as well. Then I have the harness for my backup camera that goes the full length of the truck as well. And then I have the power for that actually connected, running the full length of the truck all the way to my reverse light. So I've got a handful of wires running the whole length of the truck for the most part. Besides, my fuel pump is actually in the middle of the truck, but everything that is going to stay on there and not be thrown away is still on there. I've got quite a bit to work out going forward. I'm going to get a diagram together, at least draw it out on paper, and see how much wire I'm going to actually need to go buy. I do have all of the connectors, and then I've got some other air stuff that I'm going to be doing later on, but first priority is getting wired up, getting set to go, to be able to go out on the road. And these other auxiliary things can come after that with the air system on board. So I'm probably going to make this a several part series, just kind of going forward as I kind of piece things together and just kind of show you the process. But for the most part, it was just kind of demolition today, getting things undone, and then finding the things that do need to stay, and making sure that they are still in good condition, that I don't need to replace those. So if you guys are in the process of rewiring your truck, your auxiliary power things that you've got going on, my first suggestion would be to make sure that you know what every wire is actually going to before you start pulling things, before you start getting real excited and giddy, just ripping things out, saying, hey, I'm just going to get going. Be able to make sure you track down things, what goes to what, and so you have a good idea when you come back. You're not going to be scratching your head saying, where's that cord? And then God forbid you connect everything all together and then you flip the switch, or the truck doesn't start, or whatever the case may be, you know ahead of time, before you ripped everything out, that this goes to that goes to that. These things need to be replaced. Write it down. I'm about to go write everything down that is still in working order, that's still a part of this while it's still fresh in my mind, and then I will be adding all the things back in on paper, writing out what I need and how long of a wire will I need per auxiliary item. So that'll wrap up the video for today. I will be sharing with you the rest of the process of this as I go forward, but this will end the video. Stay safe and God bless, guys.